Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Monero and its valuation against Bitcoin and USD. So if you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel in the description below. I'm trying to get to 40,000 subscribers, so please help me get there. So one of the things we've been talking about for a while on the channel now is this anticipated Monero breakout, okay? We don't talk about a lot of coins on the channel, but we identify ones where we think a momentum shift is about to occur, or if it's just a coin that has really attractive risk-adjusted returns, or improves your covariance matrix when calculating out your Sharpe ratio on the efficient frontier. So there's a lot of different reasons we may look at a specific coin. With Monero, our thesis, again, was that as long as Bitcoin holds the 20-week, then Monero is probably going to continue to improve on its valuation against Bitcoin. Why is this important? Okay, a lot of people only want to think about things in terms of USD. But the reason why this is not important, of course, is if you invest in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's at 12K, and then you invest in, say, an altcoin instead. Let's say one person invests in Bitcoin at 12K, and then one person invests in an altcoin at whatever valuation it is. And then both of these assets drop. Well, the altcoin will most likely drop more than Bitcoin. And then you might see a day where one of these altcoins goes up 10, 20, 30%, and then you might see people saying, oh, I knew I should have bought in sooner. But if you just remember back to when you bought the Bitcoin, you're probably still up, okay, from between that crash. That's the point. Now, of course, when the market is expanding and Bitcoin is healthily above the 20-week moving average, or if it's crashed all the way down to the 200-week moving average, and there's a lot of buying opportunities, not only in Bitcoin, but also in altcoins, and the ROI on altcoins can be rather attractive. But when they go through these massive bubbles, then the idea is to dynamically DCA them either back into Bitcoin or back into stable coins or something like that. Now, the point again is to look at things from that perspective, more from like a slightly macro perspective than on any individual day, because we don't know what any coin's going to do on any individual day. It's just a random walk, geometric Brownian motion. But what we can try to identify are these, or what data science would tell us, and what these momentum shifts in the market can help us identify. And one of them was Monero. And why was this important? Well, despite the fact that so many altcoins have been losing valuation against Bitcoin and against USD during each successive test of Bitcoin's 20-week moving average, Monero said, to hell with it, I'm going up against Bitcoin, okay? And this is important because it means that an investment in Monero would actually have outperformed an investment in Bitcoin over the last several weeks. So if we were to take a measured move from, let's say, back I first talked about Monero. I first talked about it earlier in the year on my channel, but it was not a standalone video. The first time I had a standalone video was sometime in August, so in this time frame. And we call for this breakout to occur. And the reason why this is important, it's not impressive to say something's going to go up against USD if Bitcoin does, because let's suppose that I said Monero is going to go up, likely to go up in terms of its USD valuation. And then if Bitcoin goes up, then Monero would likely go up. Of course, this makes sense, because if the market's going up, if Bitcoin's going up, then it has a way of sometimes dragging up the rest of the market with it. Now, sometimes it doesn't always work like that, but generally speaking, if Bitcoin's going up, you might assume that Ethereum's going up too. You might assume that Monero is going up in value in the short term. But you might not assume that these coins are outperforming Bitcoin. And that depends on the phase of the market cycle. It depends on what that coin's history is with Bitcoin and how it tends to move with Bitcoin. And we identified that with Monero, there is a good chance that despite all the other altcoin trends against the 20-week, that as long as Bitcoin held the 20-week, then its valuation against Bitcoin would continue to go up over the next few months. And it has continued to do that. I mean, as I said, just since August, it is up 43% against Bitcoin. Now, against USD, it's a completely different story. Okay, I mean, if you look at USD, this would not be nearly as challenging to call out, because if the market goes up, well, then likely one of these coins would as well. But if you were to say, okay, well, from August, it's up also around 40%. Okay, but the point is that it's up 40% against Bitcoin, and if you already want to take on that market risk, well, identifying the fact that an investment in Monero could have actually helped you gain on Bitcoin is the important part. And you can see this amazing parabolic movement that Monero has seen, right? We saw it come down, we saw it move sideways, and then we're seeing it go parabolic back up. And we identified this region as the reaccumulation region for Monero against Bitcoin, just like we did with ADA earlier in the year. ADA had a similar pattern. We looked at the historical data. We said, you know what, ADA is probably going to break out. Then later we said Monero. So the thing now is that, you know, there's going to be pullbacks. Obviously, I can't tell you how high this is going to go. I have no idea. It could go to 150. It could go to 180. It could have already topped out. I can't tell you, you know, how high it's going to go. What I think is more important is just identifying these shifts in the market so that you guys can use them to try to make better decisions on how you want to, you know, investigate these different assets and how they move with respect to one another. Okay, so the premise has not changed, of course. The market stays healthy. Bitcoin holds the 20-week. There's still a good chance Monero is going to continue to break out against Bitcoin. If we were to go up to this next level up here, it would look like another 15% move against Bitcoin. So if we were to go to something like that. Okay, right now we're currently in this regime. And I think it makes sense because that was where we spent some time as sort of support resistance, blah blah blah, a few months ago, and now we're essentially back in that regime. Now again, if we were to go back to the top, it would look like a 15% move. If the price of Bitcoin were to stay stable, it won't most likely, but if it did, and Monero gained, let's just say it gained 15%, then from here that would look like a $147 Monero. Okay, just to give you an idea of where it might go if that valuation were to go up, you know, approximately to that level. Again, it's not an exact thing, but just to give you a brief idea of where it might go. And so, the point here again is to just identify these shifts in the market. And you know, one of the things we've also talked about is when you look at these things on a long-term basis, it helps remove the noise, right? And it even helps remove all these days where you see it, you know, you see it come crashing back down, or these big daily corrections, but ultimately you realize that this is part of one big parabolic move. So the reason we talked about Monero is because, you know, during the last market cycle, as we mentioned, it looked like it had a pretty similar reaccumulation phase, and it made its move later in the cycle than Ethereum. So we were just projecting that forward, looking like the same exact setup, more or less, and expecting a move commensurate with the last cycle. Not exactly. I don't expect the same ROI by any means. It'll probably be a lot less, but this is the whole point. This is the whole point of the channel is to just identify these trends in the market and to move in and out when it makes sense. And also remember, if you look at the Sharpe ratio on a portfolio consisting of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Monero, and Litecoin, it actually comes back as since 2015. It looks like having 17% Monero maximizes your risk-adjusted returns based on historical volatility and historical returns. And actually, Litecoin 0%, as we said before. So take that for what it's worth. I hope you guys enjoyed the channel. If you guys want access to the premium content, check out my website, intothecryptoverse.com, where I talk about this stuff fairly frequently, probably too frequently for some people, but I have the private Telegram alerts channel where I post my candid thoughts on the market on a basically daily basis, and you get weekly premium videos, weekly reports, a risk dashboard, etc. So check it out. Please subscribe to the channel if you guys like the content, and I'll see you next time. Bye.